Hey guys! With the holiday season coming up, I just thought it might be fun to do a kind of classic holiday party makeup tutorial in case you want some ideas for any holiday gatherings you might be going to. So let's get started. So because I'm doing a kind of glittery eye look, I'm going to start with my eyes so that if the glitter falls on my face, it won't ruin my base makeup. And I'm going to start with the Lorac Behind the Scenes Eye Primer. And if you have pretty dry eyelids or your eye makeup tends to never crease, then you can probably skip this step. Now for most of my eyeshadow, I'm going to be using the Too Faced Neutralizer palette, the original one. And you can use any palette that has neutral brown colors in it. I'm gonna start with this kind of creamy yellow shade, Heaven, just to set my eyes because the primer tends to be a bit sticky and I just find that it blends more smoothly if there's an initial sort of base layer of shadow over the primer. So next I'm gonna use the Sigma Blending E25 brush. And I'm gonna blend Cashmere Bunny with Nudie. And I'm gonna put those two colors above my crease. And then just blend until I get a nice gradient. Okay, so now I'm gonna take a smaller, more precise blending brush. This is the e.l.f. Professional Blending Eye Brush, and I'm gonna go into Chocolate Martini here, and I'm gonna put this shadow on the outer corner of my eyes in kind of a C shape. Now because my eyes are quite hooded, I always put my crease shadows above the crease. And when you're doing that, it's important to keep your eyes open. At least open them every once in a while to check to make sure the shadow is appearing when your eyes are open. Now that I've kind of laid that darker color down, I'm going to go back with my other blending brush and blend these two colors again and just go over that shadow we just laid down to make sure that it's blended nicely and nothing is too harsh. If you find that you've blended away the darker color, you can always go back in and add more. So basically just go back and forth with the two brushes and the two colors until you get the depth and the blend that you want. Now before I put on my lid shade, I'm gonna first curl my eyelashes. I just like to do this because I find that the eyelash curler sometimes smudges my eyeshadow or my liner. So I just like to do this before the main lid stuff gets done. Okay, now that my eyelashes are curled, I'm gonna go in with my finger into this sort of golden color called Honey Pot, and I'm gonna place that all over the lid. I'm gonna go back to that Sigma brush with nothing else on it and just kind of blend out the edges of that gold, just so that everything blends, looks like it blends into everything else more seamlessly. And now we are ready for the main event. This is the Butter London Glazen Eyeglass in Spark. It's this kind of like jelly, creamy like eyeshadow that has a ton of glitter in it. So I just took some on my finger there and I'm gonna pat it all over the lid. I'm trying not to use too much because this is quite a thick formula and you will feel it on your eyelids if you put too much. It's gonna feel very chunky. So as predicted, I've gotten a little bit of glitter fallout, so I'm just taking a Q-tip and just cleaning around the edges a little. You can also try to use a powder brush to sort of brush it away. This doesn't always work. So now I'm gonna go in with a bit of liner. I'm gonna use the Annabelle liquid eyeliner in Blackout. It's this kind of brush applicator, I guess. And I'm just gonna line underneath the lashes all the way across the top. And then draw my little wing. Okay, they're not exactly even, but close enough. I'm gonna now go in with some mascara. I'm using the Maybelline, the Rocket Volume Express in Waterproof. And I almost never put mascara on my bottom lashes because even waterproof mascara tends to smudge on me no matter what. But when I do my upper lashes, I always coat the bottom of the lash, so I go up like this and then I also brush them down so that as much of the lash as possible gets some mascara. I feel like it makes a tiny bit of difference. Now I'm gonna finish off my eyes in a second, but I'm gonna do my base now, and I'm gonna go in with some foundation and concealer. I'm using the Teint Idole Ultra by Lancome. I'm shade 230 Buff W and the Maybelline Age Rewind in Neutralizer. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of this on the back of my hand. And I'm gonna use the Sigma Fat Kabuki F80 brush. And I'm gonna apply the foundation first on the outer perimeter of my face. Because I normally put concealer around the center of my face, I like to concentrate the foundation more on the outside parts because I generally don't like a very heavy base with a lot of product. Like, I like to go in thin layers because you can always add more if you feel like you need more coverage. And you're gonna notice that I don't put foundation or concealer on my nose. And this is for a very specific reason. It's because my nose is my most problematic area. It gets the most oily out of any part of my face. And I get a lot of what I think are called sebaceous filaments, like those kind of waxy plugs that sometimes stick out of your pores. And I have a lot of huge pores on my nose. And then I assume because of all of that other stuff, it makes my nose extremely flaky as well. And all of those things are the kind of texture problems on skin that makeup tends to make look worse. And not just that, but they tend to exacerbate those issues as well. So 100% of the time, whether I'm using foundation or just concealer, I do not put makeup on my nose. And because I use such light products and work in such light layers, I find that you can't really tell that I might have makeup like on this part of my face, but not my nose. That's another benefit of not globbing on makeup, because it won't make your problematic areas look better anyway if you're suffering from a lot of texture problems like I do. So now that my foundation and concealer is on, I'm going to put on a bit of powder just on the parts that I put concealer. I'm going to go in with this Fenty Beauty Invisimatte blotting powder. This is a new product for me. I'm using the Sigma Tapered Highlighter F35 brush. This is a new product for me. I got it during the VIB sale because I'm on a never-ending hunt for the perfect powder. And this one's nice. I mean, it does make my skin look very flawless and smooth, but I'm not super impressed with how it combats oil. I don't find that it really does anything special in that regard, but I've only used it a handful of times, so I'm going to keep using it and see how it goes. I'm going to very quickly go back to my eyes to finish them off. Using that same small blending e.l.f. brush, I'm going to go back into Chocolate Martini, the darkest color that I used on my eyes, and I'm just going to go over the bottom lash line almost all the way across with this color. And for my inner corner highlight, I'm going to use this Essence Sunrise palette. It has my favorite inner corner highlight of all time, this one. I'm using the Sigma Pencil E30 brush, and I'm just gonna highlight the inner corner of my eye. Ooh, yeah. I wish I had picked up a backup of this palette back when it was still available, because I love this highlighter, and my palette is starting to fall apart, and yeah, the lid just came off. And some of the shadows have broken and they don't sell it anymore, so I don't really know what I'm gonna do when I run out. For my brows, I'm gonna use the Maybelline Tattoostudio brow gel in deep brown, and I always use an angled eyebrow brush. I'm going to use the Sigma small angle E65 brush because I don't like the applicator it comes with. And I'm just going to fill in my brows real quick. Okay, now that I got the color down, I'm just going to run through my brows with this clean spoolie just to kind of disperse the color a bit and clean it up before I go in with brow gel. Speaking of which, I'm going to use the L'Oreal Brow Stylist. I think that's what it's called. The writing's ripped off. In medium to dark. Yeah. Just going to run that through my brows. Now to finish off the face, I'm going to use this Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked palette. This is also a new purchase for me from the VIB sale, and I'm going to go in with this fluffy crown brush, and I'm going to use these two shades for my bronzer. And I like to apply bronzer quite liberally on my face because I like it when it looks naturally sun-kissed, like where you would actually get a tan. So on your cheeks and across your nose. And for me personally, I tend to get very tan across my forehead right here. So I like to add some more color back to the rest of my forehead, like on the sides and then down here as well, just to sort of even out all of the color and make my face match, if you know what I mean. I think it just looks a little more natural. Now for blush, I'm gonna go into this kind of rosy purpley color in the palette with an e.l.f. angled blush brush. And I also like to apply blush quite liberally. I tend to bring it quite far in and then take it quite far out as well. I think it just makes it look more like a natural flush. you know. And for highlighter, I'm going to use the highlight color in the palette with this EcoTools fan brush. And again, I like to apply highlighter quite liberally because I don't really like that kind of stripey look, so I tend to put it all over my cheeks. And I find a fan brush really helps with dispersing the product nicely. And I also like to put some on my brow bone and on my forehead, and I kind of blend it all together back into my cheek. I just think it looks nicer when your bronzer and your blush and your highlight kind of all blends together. I don't know if it makes it look more natural. I wouldn't say that, but I don't know, I just like that kind of diffused look, I guess you could call it. And I'll just put some across my nose, why not? And on my Cupid's bow. And finally, for the lips, I'm going to use this Sephora Cream Lip Stain in 01, Always Red. I think it's the perfect holiday color. It's so bright and beautiful. Now, if your lips tend to bleed, you should probably go in with a lip liner first, but that's usually not a problem for me. And I don't really like a precise lip line kind of look, usually. Now, if you want your lips to appear slightly fuller, a little trick you might want to try is obviously you can overline your lips very slightly. Don't go too crazy or it'll look weird. And then when you get to your Cupid's bow, kind of go over it so your Cupid's bow is less pronounced, if that makes sense. So you go like this. And again, don't exaggerate it, because it'll look weird. But if you just kind of go over your Cupid's bow, I think it kind of makes your upper lip look a little more full without it looking crazy. See what I mean? And that's basically it. Kind of super, well, not simple, but a classic glittery gold, bold red lip kind of holiday look. Let me know if you have any comments or questions, and I hope you have fun whatever you're doing this holiday season, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!